Never worry about hands again. Take your prompting to the next level with Midjourney's new Vary Region tool. Now, before we even begin to use the tool, you need to make sure that you go into your settings and turn on remix mode to be able to use Vary Region effectively. You can find the Vary Region feature after you click Upscale on one of your images. Now, I've already created this image of Baron von Cat, the regal cat, and already upscaled it. Now you're going to see the Vary Region feature right here next to Very Subtle and Very Strong. Now the feature will show up for all upscales with all the different Midjourney models. Now the only place that the feature does not show up is if you use these little arrows to expand the image in a direction. Okay, so let's actually use the tool. So we're going to click Vary Region, and this will pop up a small in Discord editor window. To select the region you want to vary, you have two options, a rectangular tool or a lasso tool. From my testing, the rectangular tool works fine in most situations, and the lasso comes in handy if you need more fine-tuned control, though control may be a bit generous, as a lasso does take some getting used to. In the top left, there's an undo button, which goes back one step at a time. Down at the bottom, you'll see the original prompt used to get the image. If you don't see a prompt here, then you don't have remix mode enabled. Make sure to go into settings and enable that. Now you can still use the tool without remix mode, but in doing so, you're kind of rely on the Midjourney gods to simply variant the region based on whatever mood they're in the moment. Okay, but enough with the overview. It's time for the real fun to begin. I've prepared some key examples showing you exactly how to use the tool, including what it's good at and what it's bad at. So let's use Mr. Baron von Cat, the regal cat, as our first example. Now in my opinion, this dapper cat deserves a dapper hat. So I'm going to take the rectangular tool, and I'm going to go over the space where I want the hat to show up. Now I'm including the ears in this space because I'm hoping that the ears will kind of be merged around the hat. So now that I've selected the region, it's time to change the prompt. When changing the prompt, we have two options. We can get rid of everything and start fresh with our new subject keywords, or simply add the new keywords to the existing prompt. There are pros and cons of both, and as we go through the examples, you'll get a good sense of what's more effective based on the circumstance. In our example here with Mr. Cat, we need to have something integrate seamlessly with the existing photo, so let's do just that and add wearing a top hat to Baron von Cat. Okay, so we just click this button here and it's going to generate our new image. Here's the output of our Mr. Baron von Cat, and as you can see, it worked spectacularly. Now you're not always going to get such results. However, it does seem to do a really good job of adding the hat. And as you can see, the ears definitely integrate around the hat like I want it. So I liked image number 3 best, so I upscaled this, and here's the final image. But now let's take this a step further and try to give Von Cat some glasses. Okay, so again for this image, we're going to use the rectangular tool, and we're going to select an area around his eyes. We're going to change the prompt to say, and sunglasses, and press enter to submit our prompt. And now, I selected a small area on purpose so you can see an error that you sometimes get. Don't worry if this comes up, you just can't use this tool for very small areas. So let's click the undo, go back to our rectangle tool, and get a bigger space around the eyes. Press enter, and here we see what can sometimes happen. It didn't actually put sunglasses on Mr. Baron von Cat. As they said in the announcement, Midjourney wants to fight you at times. So what we could do is a couple of different things. The easiest thing is just to try and re-roll this variant, and it still is not producing sunglasses. So just to make sure I don't lead you guys astray, I wanted to show you one more option. If this is happening to you and Midjourney is fighting you, you can try one more thing. So instead of just sitting there and re-rolling the variant a bunch of times, we can go back to our image, and as you notice, it conveniently saves the last region we selected. And so you have to understand why Midjourney is failing with this. There's so many keywords in this prompt that it doesn't have enough focus on any one keyword. So it might add sunglasses if in that moment the Midjourney gods decide that sunglasses are important, but in all other moments it's like, well, you already have a cat with a top hat, what more can you want? So in that situation, we'll delete the whole prompt and say wearing sunglasses. Just a note, in either situation, when doing the prompt from scratch or just amending your previous prompt, you don't need to keep the aspect ratio. However, it doesn't affect it if it's in there either, so I'm just gonna leave it. So let's just give it a try. Okay, as we can see in this example, it actually worked way better. All of the sunglasses are integrated on Baron von Cat's face, and none of the images lack the sunglasses. So in this situation, it was better to get rid of our entire prompt and start fresh. And you'll find in your own prompting, you can kind of get a sense of when that's gonna happen. And usually it's when the original prompt gets so long and packed with so many keywords that at the end of the day, you're fighting against randomness. Okay, so that's the basics of how to use this tool. However, I wasn't satisfied with these examples on their own and really wanted to figure out the capabilities and limitations of the variant region feature. So what's missing? I'm sure many of your first thought with this tool is, can I use this to fix hands? And that was my first thought, so let's go through the example. So here I generated a picture of a man waving, and as you can see, he only has 4 fingers because hands are the doom of AI. Now I've spent countless hours varianting just to fix simple mistakes like hands. And it's frustrating because often the whole image changes, maybe fixing the hands, but changing something you liked in the process. But this struggle is now gone with the new variant region feature. Let me show you. So here, I'm going to use the lasso tool because I want to actually get just the area around the hand and not have it be a rectangle. Now that's not always going to make a huge difference, but I kind of want to make this a little bit hand-shaped. So again, we have 2 options. Do we say man waving hand, or do we just say hand waving? In this situation, you could kind of use both, but I did hand waving just so Midjourney can really focus on the hand waving and not think for some reason that each finger is supposed to be another man with a hand. Let's submit it. Okay, and here's our result. As you can see, not all of them are perfect, but at least the one in the top left, it's a perfect hand, and it looks like it fits with the old man. I didn't have to say an old man's hand. Now this final example was my favorite of all of them. We've added things to an image, changed things in an image, but we haven't tried removing something from an image. Okay, so I have this image here of a lovely cottage on a hill. It's actually the family home of Baron von Kat. So again, we use the Vary Region tool, this time selecting with a rectangle. And here's an instructive moment. I wanted to change the entire prompt, but I left the high definition concept art styling phrase in it. Now you don't have to do this, but if you don't, there's a chance that the new subject added to the region is going to be of a different style than the rest of the image. Now this doesn't always happen, but it can, so just to be sure I wanted to leave it in there. So we submit the job, and we get this beautiful 4x4. In my opinion, this is the best of all the examples. Unfortunately, BlackRock found out about this tool, and they built a dreary drab apartment complex for renters only in its place. So there are hundreds more examples we could test, like making the Mona Lisa smile, or putting knights in cotton candy armor, but that's for another video. By now, you should have a good sense of what this new Vary Region tool can do, how to use it, and some of its strengths and weaknesses. Now this is just another innovation in a line of many, and one of the reasons I'm so passionate about this space. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about the region variant feature. What are some of the uses you look forward to trying? Make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with Midjourney and all things AI.